going to start the webcast and then we'll come. Oh, we're live now. We're live. We can start the meeting.
Right. Okay. Right. Well, welcome to one and all for the first Audit and Accounts Committee of the new council. I'm conscious that we have some old hands as well as many new ones. So welcome all, and I think we'll try and make it easier for everyone because we're obviously at different levels of understanding of the way these things work. I'm going to start the meeting by reading out the standard statement regarding our remote meetings. Okay, I am Councillor Falconer, the Chair of the Audit and Accounts Committee, and I would like to welcome everyone to the meeting, which is being held virtually and in accordance with the Council's rules for virtual meetings, which reflect the published government regulations. The meeting is being streamed live on YouTube and will also be available to view after the meeting has finished. Councillors who sit on this committee are identified by name on the screen, and I will introduce the officers by name before they address the committee. Councillors are reminded that although this meeting is being held remotely, they are regarded as being present in a meeting of the council, and they should observe the normal rules of behaviour under the Member Code of Conduct and not allow members of their household to distract them during the course of the meeting. Can members ensure that their mobile phones are now switched off or on silent? Members of the committee will turn on their video link during the meeting and keep their microphones muted unless they have been invited to speak by myself as the chair. Members are reminded that if they switch off their video link or move away from the camera, they will be treated as leaving the meeting and will not be able to take part in any vote taken on the item under discussion. Members can indicate their wish to speak by raising their hand or by using the electronic function, and should only speak when I, as chair, invite them to do so. The officers present will only switch their video link on during the item that they are presenting or where they wish to be invited to speak by me as chair. As chair, I will confirm the name of any visiting speaker at the appropriate time in the agenda who will address the committee by audio link. Councillors should declare that they are leaving the meeting and switch off their video link if they have a disclosable pecuniary interest or other personal interest in an item on the agenda. The councillors can switch on their video link when I call the next agenda item. Voting will be taken by a roll call, and I will confirm the recommendations proposed to the committee before the voting begins. Can each member indicate whether they are for or against the recommendation, or whether they wish to abstain? Hopefully, we will not have any IT problems, but can I remind councillors that if their connection is lost, that they should immediately advise a democratic support officer and use their meeting link to access the meeting again. Right, so item 1, apologies for absence and any substitutions. Do we have any, Ellie?
Yep, I've received apologies from Councillor Court.
Right, thank you. Do we have any declarations of interest? Nope, good. And item 3 is the appointment of vice chair. Are there any nominations? Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to nominate Councillor Paul Gaskell as Vice Chair of this committee.
Okay. Councillor Putty. Councillor Putty, did you wish to speak?
Yes, I'd like to second that.
Right, thank you. Is that agreed? I take it, yeah. All in agreement? Fantastic, excellent. Right, thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Paul Gaskell, now Vice Chair. Okay, are there any urgent matters? I'm not aware of any. No? Okay, so smoothly on to item 5, minutes of the meeting held on the 29th of March. Are the committee happy that the minutes of the meeting held on the 29th of March are an accurate record of that meeting? Okay, if so, I move that they are duly agreed. Okay, so on to item 6, which is the response to the Ernst & Young assurance letter, and I hand over to Sue Querden, the Section 151 officer and director, if she wants to say anything on that.
Thank you, Chair. Really, it's just to remind committee that this is part of our external audit process. Whilst the letter obviously was sent to the previous chair, obviously it's important that the committee approves effectively the letter to be signed off by the current chair.
Sorry, Sue. Can I just stop you? I can't hear you very well. I don't know if you need to get closer to your mic.
Can you hear me now?
It's a little bit better, yes, but not much.
Okay, I'll talk. I'll get really close. I'll start again. Did you hear enough of that or not?
That's better, yes, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. So obviously this letter is part of the external audit requirement in terms of both myself and the chair of the Audit and Accounts Committee are requested to concur that we think that there is oversight of management processes in place. Apologies, that is my doorbell ringing, but that's fine. Somebody else will answer that. And although the letter was addressed to the former chair, the current chair will sign it off, but once the committee have agreed it. What I would say is that attached in Appendix 1 is the actual letter received from EY, and Appendix 2 is the draft letter effectively signed by the chair, but coming from the committee in terms of those management processes. What I would just say is the questions are written by EY, so we've answered the questions, but we can't change the questions, even though we may feel that they might be wanted to be worded slightly differently. But they actually set the questions, we just set the answers. So really, Chair, it's whether there's any comments or feedback that the committee wishes to make, or whether they're content that you now sign this letter off. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Any comments from the committee? No, everyone happy with Councillor McCormick.
Thank you, Chair. Well, it's more of a question actually on page 21, point 3. Committee aware of any actual suspended or alleged frauds during 2020-21. As a new member of the committee, it mentions 2 fraud-related reports in June and November, and I was just wondering what they were about.
So they are internal audit reports on fraud and assurance that give the committee an update on all things fraud related. So there's no effectively breaches or deficiencies in internal controls, but it also gives an update in terms of the fraud activity of the council. So when I say fraud activity, that's fraud checking the checks that we have in place, the controls we have in place. It gives an update on things like single person discount that you have with council tax, but there's been no reported breaches from our own internal controls.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, we'll take that as okay. So that gets us on to item number 7. Now, item number 7, as you can all see, is pink paper. Now, I assume, are we wanting to discuss this? The reason being, if we wish to discuss this, we need to go into a closed session. Sue.
So we have a representative here from Arlene Close to actually go through the paper. So we will need to go into closed session.
So excellent. Okay, so I now need to read out, the official bits. We are going to go into a closed session. Will I move that motion that we do? I would ask, is there a seconder for us to go into close? Okay, Councillor Miller was first with his hand. Very good, thank you. Okay, we're moving the following motion that pursuant to section 100A4 of the Local Government Act 1972, the public be excluded from the remainder of the meeting on the ground that the public interest in maintaining the exemption outweighs the public interest in disclosing it, and therefore that exempt information is likely to be disclosed, as defined in the appropriate paragraph 3 of Schedule 12A of the Act. Okay, so in order to go into the session, we need